Schoolism's having a sale. From now until June 3rd, get $100 off a year's subscription to classes taught by industry masters, from illustration to painting to design, 28 classes in all. We've already added 2 new classes this year, Introduction to Visual Development with Victoria Yang, and Environment and Light with John Burton, with 3 more coming soon. And they'll be available to subscribers right at launch. The Schoolism Spring Sale. Check it out today at schoolism.com. Welcome to Series 2 of The Core with Nathan Fowkes, hosted by Chiu. Nathan Fowkes has been one of the top concept artists in the entertainment industry for over 20 years. His credits include The Prince of Egypt, The Road to El Dorado, How to Train Your Dragon, The Legend of Puss in Boots, and Wonder Park. In this mini-series, Nathan will get to the core of concepts and ideas that he teaches in his Schoolism classes. We hope you enjoy it.
Okay, so Nathan, thank you so much for your time. I want to ask you some stuff about designing with color and light. And you're the perfect person to ask because you teach a class called Designing with Color and Light on Schoolism. And so the question I want to ask is, a lot of people, they talk about studying from reference, studying from art books or film stills or animated movies. And that's actually one of your assignments in your class. So I want to ask you, are you concentrating on the same things with each of these different topics? Or are you looking for different things with each image? Or does it all depend? In other words, what should one be concentrating on when studying or copying from reference for practice?
Yeah, it's a great question because I think the students are looking for variety. And I think that there's 2 questions they can ask themselves to really get straight to the guts of the assignment and really learn something from the images that they're studying. Because the first question to ask yourself is, why did you pick that image? They always pick really compelling, exciting images, gripping, moody, and images that they wish they would have done or knew how to do. And so the first question to ask yourself is, what was it about the image that really grabbed you, made you want to do a study of it? And so if you focus in on that one thing, it'll give you clues as to what to emphasize and what you might edit out of doing your study, because I limit the studies to 1 hour. I want my students to not spend more than 1 hour. That forces them to leave stuff out. What are you going to leave out? What are you going to put in? Well, it'll depend on the answer to that particular question. What was it that grabbed you? So the first thing is to ask the question, what grabs you? The second thing is force yourself to edit and design. It's so easy to drift into autopilot and start mindlessly copying. That might help you become a better renderer. There's something to that, but it does not help you conceptually. And that's what the master copies are all about.
And so if the thing that really grabbed you was perhaps the lighting of it all, does that mean that you don't have to really concentrate on getting that exact color, that exact hue, as long as the mood of the lighting is the same?
Absolutely. Obviously, you want to get some of these, the important elements you want to get as close as you can, but it comes to that thing about the good versus the perfect. I think that probably everyone who takes our classes, Bobby, they're there because they have a bit of perfectionism in them. And doing a really good job takes about 1/3 as long as doing a perfect job, because perfection is nearly unattainable. And so when we're trying to get exact perfection, it just takes us into out into the weeds. And so get in the ballpark, because I often say, I have what I call my foundational 5. There are so many different principles to think about, different elements to think about, but as a starting point to be sure the foundation is in place, the design of value meaning the range of light and shadow. So the design of value, the design of shapes, the design of edges, the design of color hue and the design of color saturation. If you get those 5 things in the ballpark, not perfect, but close, the image will at least be competent. It will hold together every single time. So get in the ballpark. Don't worry about perfection.
So if we were to kind of give the audience, the viewers here, an assignment that's kind of based around what we're talking about here, could you kind of give a summary of what people can do and try?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. I'm thinking about the different exercises that we do in our classes. Um, Here's what I would stress. The thing that the students seem to always come up against, and I think it's true for all of us, we want our images to look good right out of the bag. We want to sit down and do a good looking image, and it's very tempting to reach for the low hanging fruit, the things that are easy and tend to look good. And that tends to be value contrast. You can do bold lights and bold darks, and they always have kind of some guts. There's some visual excitement there. You can do that typical dark silhouetted night in the foreground that's so bold and dynamic against a lighter atmospheric background. And people do those kinds of images all the time because they always look pretty good. They're the images that take the least amount of knowledge and experience and yet look the best. So there might be a place for images like that. In fact, there is a place. The problem is the other 100,000 hopeful concept artists out there all can also do that without much practice or experience. Where does that leave you? Where does that leave us? It doesn't make you special. It doesn't make you unique. It doesn't make you sought after. And developing unique and valuable skills is the thing that gives you a unique and valuable career. So a concept artist, first and foremost, has to have a range. And Bobby, this is scary. It scared me back then, and the more I know about it, the more it scares me now, even after all these years, because in animation, in video game design, we started out in my career in Egypt. Then we went to ancient America. We went to the American West in the 1800s. Then we went under the ocean for Shark Tale. We went into outer space. We went to a theme park. We went to Peter Pan's Neverland. All of these different subjects, and no one can be an expert on all of these different things. And yet we have to have a range that lets us deal with all of that variety. And so the exercises I give in my classes, sure, we do value structure exercises. Those are very important. But then I give exercises that specifically limit the amount of values that students are allowed to use. So they can't do that easy, low-hanging fruit kind of an image. And then from there, they're forced to use ideas like creating a contrast by color hue instead of value contrast. And so they might have an image with a very limited value range, but there might be a range of cool temperatures, and then they'll make something special by making it a little bit more warm. And then they'll take that warm and they'll have something related to it that might lean a little to a warm purple. But then there'll be something that's more important than that warm purple, and it might go into an orange, even a yellow orange, which will have a little more pop against the cool background. And then some of the more important areas will use texture in a different way than the less important areas. And we just go on and on. We have a list of kinds of contrasts, ways to get visual interest in an image. And so we do exercises on how to get visual interest a million different ways so that we can deal with all these different environments, all these different story moments, all these changes in mood. Now that's the goal of the classes across the board, to do it with composition, to do it in environments, to do it with color and light, and to learn foundationally by getting outside, sketching and painting, and learning straight from the source, from nature.
So there you go. You got it from the source, Nathan Fowkes. Giving you a great assignment. Look for the subtleties. Look for the varieties of situations. Don't go for the low-hanging fruit. A big mountain scene with a little mountain or a little cliff with a little guy sitting on a horse, all in silhouette, holding a flag, holding a spear. Let's get away from that and go for the challenging stuff.
To learn more from Nathan Fowkes, please check out his classes Designing with Color and Light, Environment Design, Pictorial Composition, and Landscape Sketching, available now for registration and subscription only at schoolism.com.